Great afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the next episode. Today, finally, we're back, and we're gonna be taking a look at a couple of setups as we promised. Today it's Friday, and we're gonna be looking at what maybe we can start looking for positioning throughout the weekend. Remember, usually weekends are very slow, very painful to say the least, and that is because we usually have low volume, and that is something that kind of hurts the trading setups. All right, other than that, let's go and let's jump into the setups right now. All right, guys, so this is where we left out. This is AR USD. This is where we left out last time that we were around. I had to take 2 days off, so sorry about that, guys, but this is basically what happened. We went to the shorting zone. Look at that, they weak us out, and what happens, almost right there to our secondary entry, went back down, turned out. Now look at that. What is the color that we have? Blue on our candles. What does that mean? That means that we had a change of phase on our oscillator. Look at that. At this point, we're turning bearish. What's happening with our ADX? It is going up. Basically strength on what? On the bearishness, right? So what we do here, it is basically re-entering on our next entering zone, right? Basically the same area that we were looking at. Hey, we have Alexander G in the class. Welcome, Alexander G. Thank you so much for joining. Such a pleasure to have you around. How has been your day, my friend? Let me know. All right, so basically at this point we're already into short, and then we're going all the way to peak performance. What is peak performance happening? Right here at support, as we have a peak performance diamond right there. What we do, we take our profits and then we rinse and repeat. Usually at this point I already have taken 50% out and leave the rest just in case it keeps going downwards. What happens? We bounce, we keep going upwards. What's going on with our oscillator? Remember, this is weakness. Look at the ADX. The ADX is going downwards, all right? That is weakness or losing strength. On what? On the bearishness that is also losing strength. So what do we have? A bullish bounce for then a bearish continuation, all right? So basically this is what we had, continuation to the downside, and well, the story is being told by itself. Let's go all the way back down here, all right? And let me give you guys a little bit of a setup in here, because something interesting has been happening here. Let me bring up my oscillator. I want you guys to notice how this is going crazy, right? Just like the price action. So instead of having either a megaphone or something more structurized, well, then we have, yeah, the megaphone, but it's kind of very choppy, right? They take you out in here and then all the way back down there. Something interesting. We have, what's up? We have Harp. What is up, my friend? Welcome, Harp. Nice. JR, good evening, OC. Good evening, JR. Welcome, my friend. Let me shout you out from the top of my lungs. Welcome, my friend. Nice to have you here. Welcome. All right, so there we go. It's amazing to have you guys in here. We really appreciate you all, especially you guys. So we're missing a username. Maybe he got stuck in the bar or something. Or maybe he's boiling his ribs. We don't know. What is his username? He's not around. All right, so we can talk trash about him. Nah, just kidding, my friend. I know you're gonna watch the review. I love you, brother. All right, so let's continue here. What else we have? We have a little bit of a range continuation, right? So this is a flat pause, or how I like to say it, a fat pause of bearish continuation. All right, so at this point, what do we have? We are getting into support, not any support. If you guys recall this is the FIVP, one of our most important and powerful indicators, free indicators for chart prime. All right, so we're basically at an important zone right here for a support. Another thing that's happening, all right, it is, look at the frequency. The frequency, it's increasing. Remember that in a wave pattern, all right, we have two different measurements, and one of those, it is the length between peak and peak. When we increase the frequency, we increase how many peaks per unit of distance we have. All right, why is this important? Because this is just bing bonging, bing bonging, bing bonging. Basically, we're trying to build up some strength, because remember, your oscillator measures momentum, right? So the momentum is getting hit up, right? It's getting hit up, hit up, hit up. And not only that, what happens when you have a bouncing ball? You release it and then you compress the area where it's bouncing. Well, then it could be bouncing slowly, and then as you compress it, well, they start bouncing higher and a higher rate. So what's happening with the cloud? Look at the cloud. What is it doing? It is compressing. Look at your momentum. It is bouncing inside the clouds, right? And what happens when you have a compression on the clouds? Well, then you're confining your momentum in here, right? Yeah, I'll say it's a great man. Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate it, brother. All right, so we are compressing. What happens when we compress? Let's take a look at that on the previous zone that we have compression. You see, it's happening the same, but inversed, right? At this point, we have the same craziness in here, right? Look at that. And then we're going upwards. We're compressing, all right? We're building up heat. We're shaking up the soda or the pop bottle, right? The soda bottle. And what happens when we release it? Let's see. Because we are at the top, most likely where is the path of less resistance? It is to the downside. So we're building up, we're building up, we're building up. We keep moving, we keep moving. What happens here? Bottoming pattern, sweep of the lows. They got you. They're thinking that you're gonna go back in. We have a rejection. This is your time, because we are bouncing off the zero line back below. It's not about your breakout, it's about your retest, secondary chance for entering, and off we go with a flat pause of bearish continuation. All right, so let me clear this up and let's go back and watch. So remember, the point of this was looking at the reaction of that cloud compression. All right, let's go in here, and what do we have? We have cloud compression once again. What's going on in here? We're going downwards in a sort of like a trending movement, right? The same that happened here. We were going upwards, right? Remember, just the direction is different, but we were going upwards in a what? In a trending directional, all right, zone or something like that. And then what happens? We want to find that support area, that bottoming area. So we need to maybe look for that SFP, right? Sweep of the lows in this point, swing failure pattern. And then we want to start seeing a breakthrough, right? So what else do we have for support? Well, there's going to be a couple of things. First things that we're going to be doing here, and this is not quite so much as for support, but this is how we measure the trends, all right? So this looks like a trend. Let's do a trend line, all right? What happened in here when we build up that momentum, right? Well, we had something that looked like a trend, and we built or we measured a trend line. All right, it can be like that. Remember, we already have had a class on how to draw trend lines, and look at that. What are we looking for? It's not about your breakout, it's about your retest. Look at the change of color now. You see the change of color, and then off we go. Right, remember that change of color, it's built by our linear regression oscillator, and I don't know why it's hidden. There we go. So what happens here? We have a reversal diamond here, right? Or a breakthrough diamond. And then what we're looking for, peak performance. All right, so let's go here and let's imitate the same section. So we are blue, perfect, we're bearish. What else do we want to see? We want to start looking for maybe bottoming pattern, which could be an SSP, right? Swing failure pattern or something like that. It could be maybe a double bottom, right? Breakout, retest, and off we go to where we have a huge area here. But remember, we're looking for peak performance here. All right, so we can take our profits for that long. At this point, we are in negative. Look at that. We're supposed to be dumping. We are dumping. All right, we have a very low volatility, which indicates maybe that we're coming to a stop. All right, because we don't have that much volatility. Our prime score is very, very bearish, and then we are trending. Perfect. The first thing that is moving is the volatility, as we could be expecting. We start reducing volatility. We start ranging Therefore, our consolidation score should be increasing to 3, 4, 5, 6 until we start building up a range. We do SFP or sweep of the lows or breakout retest right within the same pattern in here with a bottoming pattern, and then off we go. So basically, we're going to be looking at this area for the weekend. Let me just draw it once again. We're going to be looking for now at this area. I know it's a big chunky area, but remember we have our oscillator ready to go, right? So what are we looking in here? It is less strength in the bearishness. So less strength on the bearishness. This is going to be our entry. So peak performance, all right, our flip of both the blue one, the blue histogram, and your ADX, all right? Remember, it's going to be easy because when we have a flip of the histogram, we have a peak performance diamond, all right? So trust on that oscillator. We're going to be looking for that as a possible entry as we are on support. Right now is the time to start looking for that support, right? To back up that support. Let's bring up our SMA combo. SMA combo, again, remember, it is a substitute for your dynamic reactor, right? It's not exactly the same, but when it matters, it is right there, right? So we are kind of like combining with dynamic reactor. So we're going to be looking at this possible area for maybe being the target, all right? So far, this is speculation. We're still bearish, but so far, looking at how this being developed, I think we are close to a bottom. So let's move ahead and let's find if we have that bottoming structure there, or we have something that lead us to believe that we have a bottoming structure. So far, we have a TP number 3, all right? We can have up to TP number 4 or 5, but usually TP number 3, it's a good indicator that we are maxing out. That is on my candlestick patterns, all right? Sorry, on my market oracle. Then on my candlestick patterns, we have not much, so we're going to be on the look for those. Now, support and resistances, I am on a support, right? So far, I don't have anything else other than, oh, maybe where I could be looking for that SFP. Let's bring this up, and then we're going to be using the indicators. But so far, since I just noticed it, let's look at the bottom. Another confluence point in here because of these highs, this highs, this highs. And finally, an average zone right here because we have this low, this low, this low, this high, this high, this high, this low. All right, somewhere around there. Let's see where does that translates to, right? So basically, we are on that area. That's why I'm expecting a little bit of a range, right? And then the SFP or sweep of the lows could be going all the way to 7008, all right? So let's see what else we have in here. Let's use our indicators. Support resistance, they're too tight because we configure them that way. Remember, at this point, what we have, it is a what is it? Support and resistances. Support resistances, and I have proximity. All right. So let's use another bigger ones. All right. In this case, I don't have proximity, but those are daily support and resistances. All right. So let's see what is daily telling me. Ooh, look at that all the way down here. Maybe just a little bit too much. All right. So far, I'm not going to be paying attention to this other support, not just now. All right. When I start losing this area at somewhere around 108, 108, I'll start looking for maybe those areas of support. All right, let's see what else we have. We have a loud order block. Nice. Why is it nice? Because it is magnetic. It's going to be taking us to the loud order block and then rejection because it is a loud order block. Yes, it's still bullish, so it's not going to be pushing out that far away. That really makes a lot of a mess. All right, remember, it's still bearish a little bit, but it's mainly bullish. Is it a resistance? It is. So just based on the bearishness, it's not going to be pushing that hard that we're going to be losing this area, at least based on my estimation, all right? On my estimates, sorry. Let's see what else we have in here. Perfect predictive ranges. All right, look at that, my SFP now. It's looking a bit shorter, right? First, we're looking at this for the last resort, last play scenario, and then we have now this area here. I think this one looks much better for an SSP, sweep off the lows, and then we can start looking for an entry somewhere around here. Remember, weekend, slow trading. We are looking for setups for maybe Sunday night or Monday morning, all right? So first of all, we want to let this move, settle down, and then start building up our locations, all right? So take it with patience in this case. Let's see what else we have. Some order blocks at the top in here. So once again, trying to make it hard for it to go up. So as we have sweep of the lows, I think we're going to be seeing some migration of those order blocks right down there. But so far, again, we are bearish, all right? Let's see what else we have. Oh, look at that. A parabolic measurement in here. Perfect. And the trend line is all the way far away. So we still have a long way to go with this indicator. So not just yet. What else do I have? Registrant. All right, registrant is getting thinner. Usually when we get thinner, we change a face, all right? So not much to be there, just changing a face. Let's see what else we have. The ribbon and N. This is something I want to leave it a load, and I'm going to be using it as a possible support zone. We'll see. All right, in the meantime that it loads, let's bring up something else. Order blocks, not much, not in here, all the way up here. So I'm going to be skipping those blocks. If IBP already have noticed that we have the areas of support and resistances in between those two zones, all right? And finally, let's see, we have pivot trend. Let's see, all right, do we have our ribbon? Oh yeah, we have it. All right, it is red, so it is acting as a resistance. But this is what I want to show you. Look at how it expands, right? When it expands, it flips. So I'm looking for that expansion to be then pierced through, right? The same thing happens here. It expands, right? And then we pierce through, all right? So this is exactly what I'm looking for. Let's hide for a second. There we go. So far, we are kind of like trying to expand, right? Not that much. So I want to see expansion and then that pierce through, right? So that pierce through the upside. So this is going to be another tool that you could be adding. Remember, look at for that expansion, right? To then pierce through. Let's see what else we have. That's ribbon, order blocks too far away. If IVP already have looked at this, and then Fibonacci trend. Let's clean this up for now, all right? This is going to be maybe a retracement. Look at where that 706 is at, and also 618, golden pocket, all right? So those are the big resistance zones where we want to get to. So to get to, we will need to put either a higher low or a sweep of the lows, right, to where we already have it right here. Remember, this is going to be moving. If we create another low, this is going to be expanding, all right? And it's going to be giving you your area of resistance. But so far, I want you guys to notice where is your dynamic reactor and how is it coinciding with your 706 and 618, all right? So just bear that in mind. So I think, again, that the end is near. All right. The end is near, the end of times. No, the end of the bearish scenario so far on AR. All right, perfect. I think I have spent too much time in here on AR. Let's go for the next ones. So far, I think this is it. Let's just take a look at liquidations just to make sure that we are on sync. Well, then there's basically nothing here to be swiped and a lot of here to maybe to try to be taken. All right. So again, SSP or sweep of the lows could be the way. Let's go back and take a look at Bitcoin. Hey, Mark Dodge, what is up, brother? Welcome, my friend. Nice. All right, so far, oh, look at that, Fartcoin just ringing. All right, so we're piercing through. We're going to through a support zone. Let's turn off liquidations. At this point, we're going to be looking for support at the trend line. We are now on the 4 hours. All right, this was analysis made on the 4 hours. We are on possible entry zones at the dynamic reactor. What's it gonna be looking for us? Or what are we gonna be looking for? It's gonna be tiny candles, switch of color on our RSI prime, on our oscillator. On reversal zones, we want to take that possible entry. All right, at support. So maybe we have a little bit more to go. All right, what do we have on our linear regression oscillator? Let me turn it on. There we go. We're still bearish. We need to see peak performance. Peak performance, right? In this case, it wasn't actually the bottom, but this is what we're looking for. Peak performance at support. All right, and then your first possible entry. So we're very close from Fartcoin. We need to be careful. Fartcoin might also could be breaking through some stuff because the weekend's coming. All right, I do expect low volatility. Let's go to Bitcoin. Let's wrap it up on Bitcoin. All right, Bitcoin making the range. Let's go to the 15 minutes because this range has been not only chop city, but also it's been undecisive all across the board. All right, so what I'm expecting here, it is having a retracement as it happened there, right? My first entry of a 1/2 of an entry because I want to set back up, fall back in line with the frequency of the wave pattern. All right, so basically catching the top, the buy low, sell high, right? The the oscillating action, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All right, let's go to the 4 hour. Let's see what we got. Same flat pause of maybe bullish continuation. Why? Because look at the dynamic reactors catching up now. What happened last time? What happened with the dynamic reactor when you ride along that dynamic reactor? All right. In this case, yep, we fell below. This is still a possibility. All right. But look at that. Once again, when we start making the range and the dynamic catches up, usually propulsions or sends up the price of Bitcoin. All right. So let's keep those two in mind. Let's see how we're going to be trading this. So what I want to see, it is a flip diamond. All right. I want to see one of these diamonds. Well, one of these diamonds in here. Once I start seeing that diamond right here, I want to see, first of all, let's sync the center. Here we go. I want to see my ADX flip and break to the 0 line. I want my ADX to be pointing up along with my mint mountain here. All right, perfect. So it's not looking that bad. We can still have a sweep of the lows. We're very bullish, and look at that, almost the unicorn number. All right, so we are consolidation score 9 out of 10, man. Almost out of time for Bitcoin to do something. All right, the timer is ticking. Something is about to break. All right, this is gonna be exciting. All right, what would the bearish scenario will be here? That we have a sweep of the lows, you enter for a long, and then decides to continue downwards. How far should we be getting our stop loss? Remember the previous lows, and then give yourself a wiggle room. All right, let's start measuring how high could we go so we can start measuring what would the risk be all the way here. Is it 1? Yes, barely, man. I don't know. So this is going to be 1/2 of an entry. All right, so look at where we have our loud order block. Perfect. I mean, we can go here, but now or then we're gonna be below the dynamic reactor. Warning. All right, be careful. So what's gonna be, or where's gonna be the next entry? It's gonna be on the highly bullish zones. Half of an entry right here, another half. All right, this one here, 1/2, and then another half. So we can average down somewhere around here. In that case, we bounce, taking some profits, move your stop to entry, and then if it goes, it goes. If it retraces after losing this area, you short it. All right, remember, with your flip diamond here. All right, nice. All right, perfect. Let's go take a look at what else we have in here, guys. Let me know if you want, if you're looking at something. Free crypto workout. What is your take on BTC for this weekend? Slow. Basically, this is exactly what we're going right now, right? Expecting the possibilities here. This is what I mentioned at the beginning of the class. Just so you know, I don't expect much of Bitcoin. It's going to be slow, and we don't have too much important data that could be pumping the markets up. I think now will be on the hands or on tweets on some president out there that really likes to tweet, right? So let's hope it doesn't happen, because that will be sort of manipulation. Not that he wants to manipulate anything, all right? Let me make that clear. But it's going to be a fundamental that is going to be taking out of the momentum of the normal market setup, all right? So what does that mean? Up or down? If everything goes as predicted, nothing happens throughout the weekend, low to the dynamic reactor, so down to the dynamic reactor, grabbing some cheap Bitcoin, and then preparing for Monday. If any tweet happened throughout the weekend, we do expect a very sharp movement depending on the tone of that tweet. All right, but so far we're just strapping on. We're just strapping on. What else we have here? Any other question, guys? Are you looking at something? Let me know. Let's go and bring up crypto bubbles. All right, got in here. Look at that pie, very bearish. Man, I don't really want to trade pie. Let's just let's not trade it. Fartcoin, look at that. I'm telling you, remember what I used this the crypto bubbles for? As a counter indicator. So what do I want to do? I want to burst the big bubbles. What are the big bubbles? Fartcoin, right? And burst them to a opposite trade. So basically for a bounce, right? OP, pie, but we're not going to be trading pie at all. We're not touching pie, not even with a stick out of the distance, not even that. Bunk maybe, OP, render. So we already have taken a look at Fartcoin. We just had an alert on EOS. Let's take a look at EOS. Ooh, look at that breakout. Ooh, man, do you guys took this straight? Fantastic. So it's not about a breakout, it's about the retest. Right now we're bursting through, but back again inside your trend line. This is not good, guys. Yes, we're still bullish. Let me clear this up. By the way, boom shakalaka if you take your trade. Nice. Let me clear this up. Now we have enough to create a trend line. All right, let's add an alert to it. Let's do it like that. Let's lock it. And we already have peak performance downwards here, but we're turning around a diamond maybe. That diamond could be onto this support. Right, this support we could be jumping into a half a position, long position somewhere around here. This is extremely dangerous entry, all right? Stop loss at previous loss. Sorry, previous low, and then add your wiggle room, where we're gonna be aiming to the previous meaningful highs in here. Is it worth it? 1.43. I don't know about you, but I don't think so. So if it's not worth it, but I still want to take the risk, what do? Have an entry. Nonetheless, we already have taken this one. Come on, that was an amazing trade, isn't it? Wasn't it? Yes, shakalaka. I love it. Yeah. All right. So this is going to be the next setup. In fact, you know what? I'm going to be taking that. All right, perfect. So now, do you see the importance of adding your alerts, guys? So right now, we just had an alert, and we have enough chance to be preparing for what might be happening here. Right, we're very close to a possible reversal for maybe that diamond, if that kind of like bounces in there. Let's see what else. Let's take a look at here. Oh, not looking good here. Not looking good here, all right, but that could be forming some flat pause, all right, flat pause. Then let's see what else we have. Oh yeah, maybe a goose head here piercing to the zero line. Still not defined yet, right? I'm getting excited, but I shouldn't, because this is not a well-positioned goose head in here, right? The legendary goose head. Because yeah, look at this goose head, and did it play it out? Yes, it did, but it was not as an actual goose head, right? It was as a further continuation. This is the goose head that I'm looking for. In fact, this is the perfect book-like goose head. And when I say book-like, it is quotation because there's no book talking about goose heads, all right? Just so you know. So, perfect. We have a bullish scenario so far, right? Despite we have a trend line, this could be it. What is it? Creating a higher low, all right? Remember, we are still bearish, but we're taking the first steps to taste the waters, all right? So that's why we're going with the half of a position, all right? Let's say good luck to the gods of crypto. Let's see what else we have in here. Let's go for, you know what? Let's go for Ethereum. Hashtag, let me see you, let me hear you. Hashtag what? Come on, I know. There's a delay, just so you know, if you're watching the replay, between what I said and there we go. We got it. JR Gandalf, he said, oh, I thought it was the answer. But from when I talk to when the answer is being typed, there's a little delay. So hashtag what Ethereum? F Ethereum, of course. Gandalf. All right. So what do we have on Ethereum? Not looking that good. This is the 4 hour. We're losing the zero line. This is very steep. Right. We're still above dynamic reactor. And where is our next confluence area? Right here. Let's do the same trick that we learned before. All right. Let's ignore that for a second. Let's measure the full movement. And then let's go for 1/3 of that movement. Somewhere around here, somewhere around here. Somewhere around that area. I think slightly up. There we go. For retracement. All right. Do we have anything? Yes, we have a support. All right. Do we have anything else in there? Yes, we have a predictive range. All right. Do we have anything else? Not really. Repeating that the predictive range. Soft order block and then a loud order block. All right. So this is going to be my take. Breakout, confirming a lower low, I think so, and then going to half of it to the order block, to the loud order block. Here is, which by the way, funny enough, it coexists with the center 50% retracement. All right, perfect. Ethereum, I told you guys, absolutely love you guys. So could you check ATH? Absolutely, my pleasure, my friend. Let's do it. All right. And by the way, I told you, Ethereum, nice. So let's go and take a look at, what was it? ATH USDT. I guess it's crypto, right? And let's go. I think that we got bluffing. Nice, because I'm going to be trading it there. All right. Interesting. A couple of things that can happen here. Let's remember morphology, all right? Let's get started with what we see. We see a parabolic movement. Not only a parabolic movement, we also see a pole. Now we're seeing also the little hump, the bigger hump, and then what happens in that bigger hump? We usually create a pennant, all right? So far, I do see a bullish pennant, so far. The only thing that I'm not liking, look at that oscillator, man. It's picking downwards there. It's knocking on not the heaven doors, man. Not only that, we're coming from compression. Look at how violent that movement did, all right? So what else could we be looking at here? We could be looking at a possible double top. Remember, we're talking about morphology. We could be looking at, let's inverse that. Coming down, range, V-shaped recovery, high, not higher than previous range. At a triangle or a range. All right. But most likely, we could be looking at a head and shoulders. Why is that? Because of how I would be wedging this support. Let's bring up our indicators, all right? Let's see, because at this point it's a little tough, all right? Why? Because now it can become into anything, right? So how do we define that? So let's see, support and resistances. Oh, look at that. Where's the next support? All the way here, all right? That will be slightly out of the pennant. So maybe it's not a pennant, all right? Now it's looking like maybe flat bottom triangle or a head and shoulders. All right, let's see what else we have in here. Predictive range. All right, same in line. Same. What else we have in here? Order blocks. All right, this is going to be important. Dynamic reactor, order blocks. What else we have? Not really nothing important there. Let me start minimizing stuff. And also this one. Let's go for the trend channel. Yeah, nothing important. Oh, ghost trend. We're losing the trend line. Bearish. So it's not about the breakout. It's about the retest. Maybe creating a secondary shoulder. And then off we go to dynamic reactor. What else do we have? Radius. Long. All right, so bullish radius so far. That doesn't mean that we cannot go here back to the support area. Still be bullish, all right? On the radius. Nothing here. Ribbon, I'm not going to be taking a look at ribbon. We are on an order block, right? We could be bouncing off that order block. So let me change this a little bit. Like that, all right? FIBP is saying bullish movement. All right, perfect. Accommodate for the top and then rejection. All right, so to create a shoulder. Fibs in between 236 and 382. All right, so there's a zone for ranging. Liquidations, well, target not much. Liquidations is one I want to see. We are at the same between liquidations. Still, I see I have a little more concentration here. So we could maybe trying to go get them and then liquidate these areas, then create a snowball effect all the way to the dynamic reactor. Let's clear this up and let's make something a bit more useful, right? So far, I believe that we're going to be bouncing up to create a shoulder, some hiccup, and then match dynamic reactor. We'll see. So for that, I'm going to be setting up one at the top of my possible shoulder. Let's move that because I always not get the alert. And then one at the possible neckline in here, all right? So far there's no entry, but this is going to be defining where I'm going to be bouncing and taking the next possible trade, all right? So that is my pleasure, my friend, my pleasure. All right. Let's see. Let's take a look at the XRP. Oh, all right. XRP not looking that great, isn't it? but where are we? We are in dynamic reactor. We have a trend line. Guys, this opens up the opportunity to what? To look for maybe a bottoming pattern, breakout, retest. Off we go. If we're lucky enough. Let's bring up our oscillator. All right. Do we have peak performance? Not just yet. Not just yet, but remember, look at the shaded of blue. So are we there on the greatest shader of blue? I would say that yes. So any minute we could have a peak performance diamond. All right, getting ready, my friend, getting ready. Let me add that. There we go, alert. And then, oh, perfect. What do I have there? I have predictive ranges. We have also a golden predictive range line, important line. Do we have any support and resistances? Maps somewhat, but more important than this resistance or this support that's being pierced through, I would say the bullish reaction zone here, right? So as long as we don't pierce through with strength, I think we can come back up, break our retest, off we go. So again, how do we treat this? Long position. As we have peak performance, guys, as we have peak performance. All right. I want also, this is something I'm not liking here. This is getting strength on the bearishness. It doesn't matter if we're about to hit peak performance. Strength and bearishness keep going downwards. All right. So I want to see peak performance and I want to see going downwards with this one goes upwards. So I have a bullish retracement. All right. Perfect. That's what I'm going to be looking for. Ripple, RIP. Absolutely. All right. Something interesting here is that, and this is what I'm looking for. Look at this higher high, this higher low. Sorry. It's very in line with this. All right. I'm not giving it that much of a hope in here because there's just 2 points and too far away, but who knows? Let's just leave it as is. stop loss, wiggle room. So if we break downwards, bounce, get out of zero, lost, head switch, and off we go. All right. Perfect. Nice. All right, guys, a quick reminder. If you can, please give me your like button. Click that like button. It really helps with the algorithm. It's been 46 viewers here, currently 16, and we have 9 likes. Don't forget, give me your like. That is totally free and it helps me with the algorithm. So Frank the Tank, what's up, bro? Come on in late. Gonna have to notification set. Oh yeah, absolutely. Also, you can turn on notifications on the Discord, my friend. Frank the Tank, what's up, bro? All right. Let me see those likes pump up. Nice. We have one more. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Really like it. Really enjoying it. Thanks. Subscribe, smash that like button. It's free, absolutely, to touch. No KYC, nor ad, nor what is it? No tariff yet, says Mark Dodge. Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate it, brother. All right, let's see. What else do we have in here? I see Penguin here. Where is that? I just lost it. Not that far away. Could it be? Bingo. All right, bingo. Why am I looking at bingo? Because it is, what is it? Is it? There we go. It is a negative 9.3, all right? So far, going for support. Are we in peak performance? Not just yet, all right? Could it be? I think that we're going to be sweeping lows, all right? So let's give it some time, but this is something that I want to trade. What am I going to be trading? I still don't know, man. I'll show you what is my plan. If we flip all the way here for a long, all right? If I flip all the way here for a short, but that also would not need to integrate my oscillator. I need to see peak performance at whatever support is at, all right? If I see peak performance, that's gonna be my support zone, all right? If I see flip of the ribbon, you know what to do, all right? Flip of the ribbon at support, off we go. So Penguin might be a good area. So let me add a couple of alerts so I don't miss it. Perfect. And of course, just in case it goes the other way around, that's gonna be it. No quitting, JR. No quitting. Baby USDT. Perfect. Let's do that one. Man, you are on fire. Keep it coming, Mark Dutch. Keep it coming. Ooh, all right, not looking good. We're losing the trend line that we have in here. This is not good, especially since we have a flat pause of bearish continuation. Losing the trend line, I guarantee you that the oscillator is not going to be looking at all good. Yes, look at that, going for that double bottom. That usually indicates that we are near to the bottom, not in space, but in time. All right. So maybe we can have some dramatic sweep of the lows, maybe going for a double big bottom here. At the end of it all, we are into a ginormous range, right? So let's bring up the big guns. Here is a big, losing this trend line. Might signify even going even lower. All right, so not yet for a long. Seems that we're going to be piercing through. Yep, doesn't seem like we want to bounce up, but it can surprise me. I want to see those reversal signals, higher high, then off we go with that pierce through. All right, if that happens the same, that's gonna be my entry. All right, but so far we cannot predict that. What can we do is looking for our predictive ranges. All right, golden zone, most important zone. Very nice with previous bottom, and then the next one is going to be all the way to 0.059. Ooh, that's going to be very low. Let's see what else do we have in here. A little bit more of the same. How is our VPVR? Areas of smart money here. They're failing. All right, so I'm going to be looking again somewhere between my area of ranging and my area of smart money entry right here, which again pairs or coexes very nicely with my golden line. All right, so once again, golden line of predictive ranges. Money flow POC. All right, I don't think that we're gonna hold it, but absolutely it is stopping the way down. So I still behind. I still back up what I mentioned at the beginning. Perfect. All right, guys. So I think that would be it for today. Maybe depending on how things go, maybe I do an extra session just to compensate to whenever I was not around. Also to touch back on these assets. Let's see how the rest of the weekend goes. Go touch some grass. Go touch some as the other will say as, right? Or go watch the movies. That's what I'm gonna be doing this weekend. Going to watch some movies with my now wife. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. We have done now 50 viewers, 10 likes. Give me your like, guys. I know you want it. Nah, just kidding. Just consider giving a like. It is free. It is KYC free, right? Mark, you said it. And other than that, guys, thank you so much. And as always, see you guys, in this case, for sure on Monday, maybe tomorrow. All right? See you guys.